What's up, guys? Welcome to the Planet X Film channel, Paradigm Review Show, back with another special edition. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent of Nicolas Cage action comedy. Before we get to that, it's on a somber note today, guys. Unfortunately for film fans all over the world, it's obviously a rest in peace to Ray Liotta, the greatest of all time, from such classics as Goodfellas, Hannibal, as Mac just mentioned, No Escape. What were the other ones we were just talking about? Narc.
Narc, yeah. Like, he was in a lot of good movies.
He did a lot of damn good movies, dude.
Unfortunately, he had to be in freaking many states in Newark, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, so. He had to, but that still wasn't as bad as when he was the lead villain in The Name of the King Part 1. But anyway, no disrespect to our man Ray Liotta. He's the greatest of all time. So, you guys remember when we were fanboying out on the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent trailer? That was back with our boy Nick Cage. I feel like this one got delayed a little bit, but I don't really know for 100% sure. But I feel like they were like promoting it before, and then maybe due to COVID, it got slowed down a little bit. Anyway, guys, you know the legend, Nicolas Cage. In this film, he plays Nick Cage. So that might sound a little crazy.
The hardest role he ever played, Nick Cage himself.
That might sound a little crazy. One thing I would have liked to do is watch more of the behind the scenes stuff. I don't know if you got a chance to watch any of the interviews with him and Pedro. I think it was the Variety channel. It was either Variety or GQ, because he did some GQ interviews as well, which are awesome. Like they ask him, you ever seen those ones? I think it's the GQ channel where they ask him like questions from the internet, and they showed Nick Cage like the Reddit about him. It's /OneTrueGod, and that's just where they post like all like Cage clips and like so they showed him that, and like he responded to it. Hilarious commentary, dude. Absolutely.
Man, I gotta see that. I think
I'll send you the link. I should have been told you about that. My bad for not remembering it until now. I'm gonna send you that. I'm gonna send you that right when we leave. But yeah, I've seen a lot of dope interviews. Like Nick Cage is back. He was on late night TV. I watched that. I think it was Kimmel. It was one of the late night guys. So Nick Cage is back, guys. I don't know if you guys know, but Nick Cage is an Oscar winner. He's pretty much better at acting than probably like every single guy that you guys watch when you're watching Marvel movies. Like, if I could just see one more Chris Evans CGI film. Well, no, it's not as good as Nick Cage, because he has an Oscar, and two, my favorite fact about him, he's actually Nick Coppola. He's Francis Ford Coppola's nephew. A lot of you guys don't know Coppola is his uncle. So he changed his name to Nick Cage. That's a stage name. That's how epic he is. So without further ado, well, it's just a little background if you guys don't know what you're dealing with. Mac and I have lately been fanboying films of him, such as Mandy. I think Mandy is his best independent work. I saw that other one by the Mandy producers, The Color of Space. It was like okay, but not as good as Mandy. Of course, what was that?
What was that? Willy's Wonderland?
Yes, dude, that was ridiculous. See,
that one, yeah. I mean, he has like pretty much like the new, which most Cage fans will like keep up with also. But regardless, anyone wants to admit it or not, is old body of work obviously was what made him who he was, a legend.
Oh, for sure. If you guys know, me and Mac are big fanboys of 90s action films such as Con Air, Face Off. I mean, Face Off's the greatest film of all time.
Yes, it is. It is the greatest Cage film ever.
Nick Cage versus John Travolta, one of the most epic 90s team-ups of all time. And we're just giving you guys a little bit of background, because throughout this movie, there's tons of jokes referencing, his career and his old films, his original films and stuff like that. I did see Pig. It was just way too slow for me. What up, Greg? We're talking The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Nicolas Cage playing Nick Cage. Action comedy. It's actually hilarious, man. If you haven't seen it yet, I think it'd be up your alley, Greg.
I think it's pretty good though, man, because like people see Cage's acting. Obviously, that's one of the many factors that's like the energy that he gives. Yeah. And in this movie, obviously, him playing himself, is also poking fun at the energy that he gives in certain. So this is what I like about the movie. It's like what I told you before. It's somewhat of a parody of his career, along with like if y'all seen Jean-Claude Van Damme and JCVD, or My Name is Bruce with Bruce Campbell. And this is something that y'all gonna love.
It's like when the actor parodies themselves, in other words, is what Mac is referring to. Like My Name is Bruce is obviously Bruce Campbell is like a slapstick style horror comedy type thing, and then JCVD is more of a serious take on it. But obviously, me and Mac are ridiculous Jean-Claude fanboys, as you guys know. But yeah, I think you guys want to get out there. I saw this in the theater. It was freaking hilarious, man. It was awesome. If you're a Nicolas Cage fan, you do have to see this. It's kind of like his, I guess, comeback. But they kept saying that joke where they're like, like, we're back, baby, we're back. He's like, not that I ever went anywhere. Because he made all those indies. And if you guys don't know, he was making those indies because he was in crazy debt. But apparently he's out of his debt now. So I'd like them to bring him back into major production films. I mean, that would be cool, Like, I don't know if his hardcore action genre really exists anymore, but it would be cool to see him in something big,
I agree. I think seeing him in something, dope, where action would be good. I mean, the man did The Rock, Con Air. He did Wind Talkers.
The Rock was epic. Friggin' The Rock. The Navy SEALs in The Rock were real Navy SEALs from Marcinko's unit. Rest in peace, SEAL Team 6. But what was I gonna say?
So it's not like he can't do hardcore action.
Basically, what you were just saying. You know what he'd be perfect for is that role that Bruce Willis played in Expendables 1 and Harrison Ford played Expendables 3. Nick Cage would be perfect for that role in Expendables 4. How tight would that be? Mixing things up is tight.
Just mixing it up, man. You gotta mix it up. I think it will work. I mean, it's good that Bruce Willis was in, Mr. Church, and then they switch it up to Harrison Ford and such and such.
Yeah.
But like I said, like you said though, just switching it up,
a new
bringing back all the legends on the 90s, would have been just out of this world,
Yeah, he'd be sick for that because just because if Ford can't do it for some reason. So
like, I work for the CIA. I mean, don't you believe me?
The last guy.
Get out of my mind.
Get out of the picture. You guys stole $1 million from the CIA. It's crazy.
That dude's nuts, man.
Talking about some of the other people in this movie, of course, Pedro Pascal. Mac and I are massive Pedro fanboys. This guy was a legend in Narcos, and he's the Mandalorian. Everything he's in is literally incredible. If you see some of the back and forth, like between him and Nick in those behind the scenes interviews I was telling you about. It seemed that Pedro was like a massive Nick Cage fan, so obviously he wanted to do it, you know what I mean? So they were just like the whole crew, the whole cast was all about it, you know what I mean? Which is so funny. Even those writer guys, I highly respect those guys because in what I was watching, Cage was saying you guys should probably just get another actor because he said it would have been fascinating for him to watch somebody else play him, but ultimately those guys got in contact with him. They were they wanted the real thing, so
yeah, man,
made it 10 times more ridiculous,
of course, man. I think it definitely would have been though. Shoot. I mean, Pedro Pascal is definitely one of those guys that's he definitely slowly rising, to his limitations and becoming more iconic in the roles that he does now. Obviously, The Mandalorian being one of his more iconic roles and such, So yeah, man. I mean, definitely though. I like to see more stuff with him in it.
Me too.
For sure. So,
how did you feel about him in this film?
Oh man, he was hilarious in this film, I mean, the thing is, it's more of not the fact that the character that of what he plays and what he does for a living and all that, but the fact that he's a big fan, and he even mentions the most old Nick Cage films that I've heard only one time during that age, and I'm oh my god, I'm just hearing this again. He talked about Garden Test was a movie that got him closer with his dad. I'm like, Garden Test? When he played the secret agent guarding the first lady, that movie.
But I do like that one joke from the trailer when the two agents were talking and she's like, oh my god, that's Nick Cage, he's in blah 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 too, and the guy's like, no, I haven't seen that. He's like, why would I have seen that? He's like, I'm 38 years old, I've seen Con Air. There's a lot of good Nick Cage movie jokes in this, guys. It really is.
Definitely, man. Even when he took him to that Well, I don't want spoiler alert. Wait,
yeah, it's kind of in the trailer, honestly.
Yeah, the shrine, talking about the statue and all the stuff that was in this movies.
Javi as Mac is Javi Pascal over here. Javi brings it. He's like, well, first of all, when they meet, he's like, dude, I'm gonna be real. Neil Patrick Harris, dude, this is like the first time I've ever seen that guy be funny. Like he actually was funny in this movie. And like usually I think that guy's the absolute worst, but like Nick Cage kind of like made him good. He was like Nick Cage's like agent in this movie, which like, you know, they already have like skits.
Well, I think it's because it was the right movement for him to be acting like that. Because I seen him in Harold and Kumar. And,
he's like overacting like holy crap.
And I mean, and I get the joke, you know. Oh man, he's Doogie. Oh
yeah. But like in real life, he's a partier. Blah blah blah. Who cares?
Yeah, real life partier. Effing porn stars and freaking smoking blunts and drinking like a drunk.
Doing coke off the top of the car. Well, he's Nick Cage's agent in this one, guys. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, so he basically he said it's like a birthday party, right? Like he's gonna have to do like a birthday party, and like Nick Cage was trying to do this other film, but he ends up saying yes to that. You know, just kind of spoofing off his career. And then the other thing is he's going back and forth with his old movie star alter ego, which is like Nick Cage with like long blonde, like platinum dyed hair with like a leather freaking outfit. Like he's just a lot of scenes of them, you know, talking to themselves, him talking between.
I always thought that was like his not subconscious, but like more like I don't know what to say. Like
it was like his ego, right? Because he wasn't really giving him good advice. He was just telling him to like go get the money and go to the top. Yeah, exactly.
Just fucking do it.
He was just telling her to go all the way, and that really wasn't like the best advice all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my God, the amount of drugs they would do. I'm not even. I don't gonna go all the way with it, but of course that one scene where they took acid.
Yeah, for sure. I like, and they kept going for drives. Like, hey, you want to go for a drive and like talk about scenes, like as if you're gonna come up with any film work that way. So when he meets Javi, he's like Nick Cage, and he's like, hey man, I don't know what you want to do, but like, does this Javi guy like want me to bag his wife or watch me bag his wife or? He's like, that's a no-go, man. That's what his agent said to him. Freaking the him and Neil Patrick Harris go through.
Oh my God, like just celebrity tabloid BS.
Yeah, exactly. So he meets Javi there on the island, and then eventually, like, Javi's like a super fan, and then you know, there's the CIA basically thinks that he's some sort of cartel guy, and they eventually like rope in Nick Cage to have him go undercover, but at the same time, him and Javi are like trying to come up with a film. And it was pretty intricate how they did all those different scenes and stuff. So he has this secret room, and he finally brings Nick Cage in, and it's like all artifacts from like every Nick Cage movie. It's like the chainsaw from Mandy.
Exactly.
And, I mean, you guys, it's not a super spoiler, guys, because you've seen that. It's basically the face.
It's in the trailer.
Yeah, the Nick Cage statue with the gold pistols. And you know what I mean? He's like, that's supposed to be me. He's like, it's grotesque. I'll give you 20,000.
He's like, it's not for sale.
Their dynamic was awesome. They actually had great chemistry pause on screen together. But yeah, the other characters are funny too. Like those two agents, I thought were pretty funny. Like all the supporting everybody was pretty funny. I mean, I really didn't know. I expected it to be more like Willy's Wonderland, like you were saying, because I thought it was just going to be like a totally unhinged, like Nick played himself, but like I didn't realize how many different kind of style scenes they were going to do, because they like when they were talking about the, you know, coming up with the script or whatever, like you were saying, they jumped back and forth between like, you know, pretending soldiers were chasing them and jumping off the cliff and doing action to like dramatic stuff of like, you know, like him talking about his upbringing, like you said. And like they both showed their acting chops, because they both showed like every single emotion, it was a cool way to do it. You know what I mean? Like just like have these two, you know, it's like basically two guys on an island, but it's just the conversation that drives everything. You know what I mean?
Pretty much, man. I just like the, you know, I definitely love the scene where they were just like out of it with the drugs, and all the paranoia, you know that. I'm not even gonna get into all the scenes with your paranoid, but let's just say it was hilarious.
Yeah, it definitely works. I do like the plot a lot. I give those writers a lot of credit for making just like a random comedy parody so interesting.
I'm just thinking Nick Cage got high one day and just like put this in the movie.
I'm sure he improvised a lot because when you're playing yourself, you know what I mean? Like, I think he has a lot of behind the scenes stuff of him talking about like, you know, which Nick Cage is which, you know what I mean? Which is pretty much like you were saying, but the action scenes too, like I feel like they leaned on that a lot in the trailer. So I thought there was going to be a little bit more of like, I thought when they got roped up with the different factions and, you know, stuff would pop off and you do see a little bit of the gunplay, but, I don't know. We're just gonna have to say it. Freaking when him and Javi are like in a way, like in a sense, double crossing each other. Or they think they are. That it was like none of it is really real. But when they meet up with each other to have that like intense conversation at the end, like that was sick. When they go for a ride in the Jeep or whatever, you know, it's a somewhat face off, so to speak, you know.
Pretty much, man. Shoot. Like the movie does get, you know, a lot more intense, you know, during the end and all.
Yeah, the twist is sick in that third act. I really, that's probably the better part of how it comes together. Like, honestly, it's a little bit slow at first because you're like, all right, what's going on here? But once they start to twist the conflict, it makes a lot of sense, you know.
I agree.
Is that my gun? Like, no, that's my gun.
Pretty much, man. Shoot. Like, yeah, man. End of the day, though, you know, the movie, you know, holds up with its comedy, its parody of Nick Cage's career. Not to mention, you know, you could tell like the characters are very passionate about cinema. You know, just like, you know, most of us are.
It's definitely like a homage to movies as well. Mac was saying, like, it's not just like about Nick Cage's career, about himself. Like, they talk about, you know, he asks them like, what's your favorite movie, and they just talk a lot about film. Really, it's just mostly conversations about film for most of them two scenes.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's everything, guys. It's hilarious. It's got action mixed in there. If you're a Nicolas Cage fan, it's a must see. If you just like comedy, I would say give it a watch. If you like action comedy, this is like, it really hits all the notes. I mean, I wanted to see this because it was rated R. I like Nick Cage, and I've been watching like a lot of like PG-13 comic book movies lately, and I was just like getting like to my limit on that. So I was like, dude, I need to like watch a Nick Cage movie and like remember what an R feels like.
Yeah. Like, this is one of those Nick Cage films. Like, in fact, it's probably the first Nick Cage film that ends on a really, really good note, you know, no matter what. Mm-hmm. Obviously, most of it you be on, you know, I'm not gonna say some of it's gonna be a down note, some of it's gonna be like you know, tragic or messy, or I killed the bad guy. Then we walk slowly into the freaking camera, you know, and end it like that. But no, this is straight up a really good film, real good parody, real good comedy, real good action comedy. Let's just say it like that.
Clever writing, like Max said, the film jokes, the Nick Cage references, it's all in there, you know, clever dialogue, funny jokes.
And like I said, if you're a big Nick Cage fan, you want to see Nick Cage just Nick Cage it all over the freaking screen, then this is definitely the ultimate movie to watch.
Oh, that was the other thing they told Nick Cage about in the behind the scenes too, is the phenomenon of caging. I guess that's like a thing where like high school, have you heard of that? Where like high school kids like print out these pictures of Nick Cage and they like plaster them all over your locker, so you'll open it and it'll just be like a bunch of like Nick Cage
pictures. Oh man.
Man, I wish that was a trend when I went to school. I would have been doing that to all my friends.
Oh man. Let's just say we kind of wish that was, you know, happened in our generation, but as you can see,
it's a throwback thing.
The newer generation didn't fail, sort of. So
no crap. But we're all set on current events, other than the R.I.P. Ray Liotta. I think we could basically get in, unless you have anything else on the film, Mac. I think we basically get into ratings.
No, we can get into ratings. I pretty much said what I said. Good film.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking funny, guys. You guys should definitely check it out. It's hilarious. You know what I mean? It's just a funny action comedy. I mean, it's not over the top. I mean, in these times right now, I think you guys could all do with a little bit of laughter. And don't worry, Top Gun Maverick coming ASAP as soon as we screen it, guys, because you guys know how big Top Gun 1 fanboys we are on the channel. So just wait. I'm hearing it's real good. I'm trying not to watch too much behind the scenes on that, but The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the Nicolas Cage film. It has a 7.4 on IMDb, and I am giving it an 8 out of 10. Freaking hilarious. Good acting.
I give it 8.5.
Good acting. Nicolas Cage, Pedro Pascal, as Max said. Both are legends. So
definitely.
It's a good 90s guy team up with a more guy that came up now, new school guy team up. So
exactly. Like I said, though, I'll give it an extra 8.5 on that one. Because, man, I mean, it's one of those movies, like, after watching so much crap that's coming out nowadays, a movie like this comes along and just pulls you right back. And it makes you enjoy the movie and not just, dread it and, like, why does this exist, like other movies VX watch movies. I mean, so, yeah, man.
Shout out to Honest Trailers. They handled that. There's nothing left to say about it after those guys did it how they did it. So I think we're wrapping up, guys. Give us some more recommendations. I think it's looking like Top Gun Maverick for the next review. There is a documentary I want to review, and I'm going to check out the documentary Drugs as Weapons Against Us. I heard it has some cool references in it. So not much going on right now, guys, on the channel, but we'll keep the reviews coming. Zodiac Files episode 4, hoping to get it out this summer. The Gavita Beach murders. Probably have a Zodiac Files interview coming up soon in about a week or so. We're going to be out of town. Maybe have a little top secret travel blog for you guys. So that's pretty much it. We got mock Javi Pascal, me, Ross Cage, and Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Go check that out, guys.
Absolutely. And my final thought on this one right here, just because of this movie, I might watch Paddington 2, just because Nick Cage found it so epic.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy, just like obscure film references in this movie that you when he rewatched it and he cried. Absolutely genius. Just
like this movie is epic. Like I told you.
Yeah. This I think you guys like this. Like Max said, if you like films, you like action comedy, you like Nick Cage, even if you just like Pedro Pascal and you want to see him do something different where he's not blowing away stormtroopers in The Mandalorian, you can check this out, and I think you guys would enjoy it. So we're coming back soon. Hopefully Top Gun Maverick, and any other suggestions for me and Mac, leave them below in the comments. Like we said, we do everything from every era, so new stuff, old stuff, whatever, we don't care. Paradigm Review Show, we are out.